the essence of market systems development approach really is, it's an explicit objective for creating more effective and inclusive market systems and facilitating the role of development programs.
The market systems development approach is central to our work.
Because it's not just transactional. It doesn't just emphasize on the handout. It allows market actors to take ownership of their intervention. It brings about lasting changes. It's a lot more efficient.
It helps us also to be more cost effective in terms of where we put the project's resources because you focus on those key constraints, addressing the key constraints. And once you address those key constraints, it actually has sustainable impact in the development of the value chain.
And most importantly, it focuses primarily on behavior change. How do you get people to do things differently than what they're doing today?
We all have a target, an objective of reaching poor people, of leading to some sort of benefits for people who don't have those benefits now. And so this is a good way to be thinking about it. It provides us with a framework for analysis, a lens through which we can view the local economy to help us identify and diagnose constraints and opportunities for market systems development. And then it gives us a set of principles that we can use to apply to say, well, how should we be thinking about solving these problems? The first is really understanding the poor in their context. Why do we choose sectors to work in? Because that's where the poor are. But where are they in that sector? The value chain analysis can tell you where exactly in the entire value chain the poor are to help you zero in on the market systems that affect them.
For example, the feed company in aquaculture value chain in Nigeria, being led by PIM Foundation, the feed company is actually invested in the demonstration, and just to demonstrate that if you use their feed, they can actually improve, the farmers can improve their productivity and yield. So what is happening is that there is improved brand loyalty. The feed companies are making more money because they are selling to a large number of farmers. Farmers are increasing their productivity and yield because they are using good agronomical practices and also good feed.
%60 of rice consumed in Liberia is imported. So everything that's produced is all subsistence. That was before the FED project. So what we wanted to do was we wanted to have surplus so that there will be private sector who will be attracted to engage in processing. But at the same time, you need the private sector in order for the farmers to continue producing surplus.
In market systems development, we work to recognize ethnic, social, or political pressures that keep firms from changing their behavior. We focus on where to apply pressure points, where there's the greatest amount of leverage that can drive behavior rather than trying to force specific actors in the value chains to take on new behaviors.
Issues of conflict coupled with issues of unemployment, a large youth population, and lots of other issues that affect not only the Delta but also Nigeria. And we realize that in order to meet those complex problems, we have to meet it with a much more holistic approach.
In market systems development, we amplify and triangulate signals, this feedback, by working in multiple systems at the same time. Media systems, civil society systems, or support market systems. Market systems development is about addressing the underlying cause of the problem we are seeing. There are really two models of market systems development approaches that are being applied right now. The USAID had been developing its value chain approach, and DFID had been developing the M4P approach. So they have very similar common underlying principles, but there are differences in vocabulary and in visual models.
We need to move beyond saying these are good principles to work on. We subscribe to the principles, we know they're good principles, but we need to have a stronger evidence base, a greater number of good examples to show the people who are more sceptical in the organisation, and they come at us from both ends, if you like. They come at us from the sort of poverty and livelihoods end, and they come at us from the more sort of enabling environment. It's all about the economy, stupid sort of macroeconomics and investment climate end.
I think what we really need to grasp is how to get from sort of paper to people. How do we use the data and empirical evidence to then help convince people on another level, on a more almost emotional level, in order for them to incorporate that and to really believe that change is required.
There's been a major evolution. I think over the last 10 years, there's been kind of the adoption of the methodology and people beginning to understand its power and how to use it. And so I think that that's an important part of this event, is to share experience amongst DAI's staff and our partners and our implementing partners, so that they can learn more about what's being tried and what's working and what's not working.